Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/ProRevenge. In today's episode, okay, I'll carry items that don't sell. Then it all went quiet. More tickets. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Okay, I'll carry items that don't sell. When I was in my early 20s, I was a seafood department manager for a chain grocery store. I was good at my job, motivated to do my best for the company, etc. At my first store, I increased the sales and gross profit percentage within a few months. After a year, I got transferred to a larger store that had tons of issues with instructions to turn things around. Within 3 months, we were leading the district. After a year there, I get transferred yet again with the same instructions, which is where the fun begins. This store was the smallest in the district and was barely making money. My first store averaged 12K in sales per week, my second 20K in sales. The third counter was only doing 3-4K in sales per week and was losing money. 5 different department managers had failed in trying to fix things. My first week was spent getting things organized, going over sales reports, and getting to know the type of shoppers the store had. The problem was easy to see. The company was trying to sell things that people didn't want to buy. I quickly changed what was being ordered. Since it was such a slow store, there was a lot of downtime during the day. I was ordering whole fish and marketing everything in multiple ways, whole but pre-cleaned, steaks, fillets, even the heads and bones, cutting everything myself. I also switched from fresh to frozen for high-dollar items that didn't sell well. I was keeping very detailed records in Excel spreadsheets. I was bringing in a lot less overall product, but had a much better variety that our customers actually wanted. By the end of the third month, we were doing almost 6K in sales per week and my profit was again leading the district. It was something crazy like 50% when the target was 30%. More people were coming in the stores, so total sales were increasing as well. The fourth month was just as good, even though it was during our slow time, midsummer. Enter the district manager and my supervisor. Both came in to visit after seeing the reports for my third and fourth month. They had figured the third month was a fluke, and when they got the fourth month they figured I must be playing with the numbers somehow. Their first reaction was, "Wow, the department looks amazing." As I showed them what had been happening, and what I had done to fix it, you could see the supervisor getting more impressed while the DM was getting mad. I finally looked at the DM and asked what was wrong. He went on a 10-minute rant about needing to carry all of the things that didn't sell, and asked why I didn't have fresh flounder. I replied that when we carried it at full price, we would only sell about 2 pounds per week, but would have to order 20 pounds, things came in 10-pound increments and fresh fish had to be ordered twice a week to carry it. I explained that doing things like that on a regular basis was why the department had been losing money. I also explained that I had been told by the supervisor, who was there, to fix things any way I could. The supervisor denied saying that. I was told that I was to follow the plan the company had for the district at all times, and if I ever didn't have something on the sheet or had something that wasn't on the sheet, I would face disciplinary action. I asked for the instructions in writing this time, and received it in the form of a written verbal warning for failure to follow instructions. Malicious Compliance Part 1. I was obviously pissed, but I did what I was told. The next month was a nightmare. The store manager, district manager, and supervisor were constantly checking on me and trying to find things to write me up for. At the end of the month we had sales just over 3K per week with a 2% gross profit, and thousands of dollars of fish had been thrown away when they went bad. We also were getting customer complaints about not having the items they wanted. The DM and supervisor came back in and started chewing me out. I sat patiently until I was asked if I had anything to say. I pulled out my reports that showed that I had ordered everything I was supposed to, and how much of that was being thrown away because my customers didn't want it or couldn't afford it. Things went back and forth, and I finally asked how 2 people who obviously knew nothing about marketing had reached the positions they had. Maybe a mistake, but I was young and hot-headed. This time I ended up with written warnings for insubordination and failure to follow instructions, and was told I was being demoted to clerk because I didn't know how to do my job. I challenged both through the union. Long story short, the insubordination was lowered to a verbal warning, and the failure to follow instructions was completely removed since I had written proof that I was doing exactly what I was told. I was given a full-time clerk position at a different store, and kept my manager pay. I ended up staying for about 8 more years before being forced out after refusing multiple promotion offers. They wanted to eliminate the full-time spot to save money, but couldn't take away my full-time. That isn't the end of the story. Malicious Compliance Part 2. The way I had been treated pissed off a lot of people at a lot of stores in the area. A lot of the same people also got worried the company would do the same to them, which sparked 2 issues. The first was almost every seafood department started following the company plan 100%. People started getting jobs with competitors as well. Over the next 2 years, seafood profits went down company-wide, which affected all other sales, and a lot of talented people had jumped ship. The company ended up closing about 1/3 of their seafood counters. They switched to pre-packed product, and closed 3 slow stores altogether in attempts to increase their gross profit, not sales or actual profit, just the percentage. They are still around, but they lost a lot of market share, and still struggle to keep talented employees. I no longer work any form of retail, and will never go back. Then it all went quiet. Back in my university days, we had a long summer holiday, and in the UK most students got a job to top up their bank accounts for the next year's drinking studying. At the end of my second year studying chemistry, I got a job as a quality controller in food factory. Now the one thing I really learned from that job was the foods to avoid. Did you know one of the ingredients in canned tomato soup is concentrated hydrochloric acid? Anyhow, I was significantly more qualified in chemistry than the quality supervisor, and after I pointed out some problems in the way they were carrying out some of the tests in the lab, I was put into the cannery, where I was told to check the seams on the cans after they were lidded, the vacuum in cans after they were lidded, and also that the check weigher was working correctly. It was the check weigher where things got interesting. If the volume of products in each can was too high, then the cans could burst during cooking. If it was too low, then the company could be fined for underweight products. I was shown how to check and also adjust the volumes going into each can. It really wasn't difficult. One day I was watching the production and canning of chicken soup and noticed the line was running just a little light, not below, but just on the lower compliance level, so it adjusted the machine to add just a little more soup to the cans. This brought it up to almost the exact weight expected per can. Things ran really smoothly from that point onwards until we got to the end of the run. There was a flurry of activity in the cannery supervisor's office, and much pointing at paperwork. It seems the cannery had produced around 100 cans less than was expected from the run. Cue the investigation. Turns out that by stopping the line running light and adhering to the can labeling of the weight inside the can, I had cost them 100 cans of soup. I was told under no circumstances should I make any adjustments to any production line, and I must find a supervisor. Fine, I was only there as a temp after all. Everything was good for a week or so, and then came the mushroom soup run. Once again the line was running as close to the minimum as they could, and then I noticed cans coming through the check weight underweight. I told the guy running the line, and he said just adjust it then. This is where MC carpet in. No, I can't adjust it, but also as I'm responsible for quality control, I can't let this run underweight. Cue pressing the big red button stopping the canning line. Canneries are noisy places, there are conveyors running in the time, cans clattering against each other, and then into the retort baskets they are cooked in at the end. All of this stopped and I had the entire room standing wondering what to do. I asked one of the line staff to go and find a supervisor to make the adjustments, and I waited. We waited for almost an hour to find someone, by which time the soup that needed to be canned had got cold and couldn't be pumped through the canning machines, and had to be dumped. The supervisor arrived, went ballistic, dragging me into the factory manager's office. He told the story of the lost 100 cans, and how I had now cost them a whole batch of mushroom soup. The manager started shouting at me, and then came out with a gem of a statement: "I can't see you having a career in this industry, you need to think about your options." My response was quite blunt: "I'm afraid. Clearly, your margins are dependent on being as close to a can of soup being underweight as possible. I understand that and sought only to protect you from possible litigation under consumer legislation. I was told I was not to do that and find a supervisor to make any changes. In the absence of this chap for over an hour, I was faced with 2 options: either halt production, or allow underweight cans to leave the cannery. My career options are not guided by my temporary summer holiday job, and I aspire to something more fulfilling. As I will be returning to university in a few weeks, I'm going to get changed, and you can sort out someone else to check your cannery production. Bye." More tickets. A combination of executive manglement, laziness, and too much work means that our IT department is rarely on top of everything. When it comes to my department, this tends to manifest in two ways. Either they ignore our problems or a temporary workaround is developed which requires extra effort on our part, and then they ignore the problem, rendering the temporary workaround a permanent solution. For entirely too long, the most common solution IT would offer was to tell us to cancel the offending order, re-enter it, and hope the glitch doesn't recur. You may notice that means that my department is left doing significantly more work so IT doesn't have to do theirs. We would, of course, complain and be told to enter a ticket for any new issue. In times past we would submit one ticket for any specific glitch, no matter how many times it occurred, to save IT the trouble of having to close duplicate tickets, but with their reticence to get anything done, we had to get creative. We started submitting a ticket for each new issue, every instance of a glitch, even if that particular glitch had already been reported on as happening on a different order. The number of tickets we were submitting exploded. We started submitting tickets for issues temporarily resolved 6 months ago in addition to any new glitches. And there were a lot of issues since our new computer system hadn't been redlined before they pushed it out to us. To make matters worse, we even submitted tickets for orders that we went ahead and resolved on our own using the prescribed workarounds. When IT inquired about those tickets, all they had to do was close them, which was extra busy work for them. Manglement started to become very upset with IT over the massive amount of unclosed tickets, and IT started panicking, asking us to hold off on submitting so tickets. We graciously back off for a week and allow IT to clean up their queues, but then they're back to their old habits of not fixing our problems, so we turn up the heat again. When IT asked us to back off again, the more polite among us told them, "This is what you asked us to do," or "We just want to keep you informed on the progress," but our boss, Sarah, flat out told IT, "My team doesn't have time to cover for you. Do your job and solve our problems." Eventually IT got the message and started solving the underlying problems, but even now there are some problems they are only getting to after 2 years of complaints. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.